Are we on? Hello everybody, Dave here from HeyUGuys, and I'm with
Stefan from HeyUGuys.
and we are here at the world famous Royal Albert Hall, as you can see behind us, and in a minute we're going to be chatting to James Newton Howard, who is the guy who has composed the brand new not Harry Potter, Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them score. And so we thought while we're here we would chat about the brand new movie that Stefan saw a couple of days ago, or yesterday?
About a week now.
Oh, is it?
I get into the early
Is it that
screenings.
long ago?
Yeah, actually, well, no, it wasn't. It was like 5 days.
Okay, still quite a long time.
Yeah, it's not bad.
So it's out on Thursday, the something of November. I'm just as good as
18th.
Paul. Just to know, Eve isn't here.
Friday.
It's just Stefan.
I
It's
know.
just Pape even.
It's just me.
No Eve.
No. Is
You
it
got,
on the 17th?
you got
I
me.
think it's on the 18th.
It's out on the Thursday, whatever date that is.
17th.
17th. It's out on the 17th. We are full of all the knowledge.
Yeah.
So I haven't seen the film yet. I'm seeing it Wednesday, so the day before release. But I wanted to chat to Stefan about what you thought of it. So your review's gone up, your written review's gone up on HeyUGuys already.
Yeah.
And it was a 3-star review.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Why was it a 3-star review?
It was a 3-star review for a few reasons. A couple of big reasons. I felt it wasn't quite irreverent or playful enough in parts. I thought that if you take the Harry Potter franchise, I know it's unfair to keep tying it to the Harry Potter films, but it's kind of hard
It's
not
impossible not to.
because
Sure.
it's part of that universe.
Yeah.
It's J.K. Rowling's written the screenplay, etc. And what that had was you had Harry Potter as the core central character, and he didn't have that much personality. But he didn't really need to have that much personality because you had people like Hagrid
Yeah.
and Dumbledore and Dobby
Yeah.
and all these characters, and I
love Dobby.
know they were what made Harry Potter for me. It was the supporting roles, and I feel that this film didn't really have that abundance of comedic and playful characters around the lead role of Newt Scamander, played by Eddie Redmayne. It felt like it was lacking characters that would kind of illuminate the screen in that regard. But I do think in some ways that's a challenge that derives from this being the first film of this kind of new separate franchise.
Because they've announced that there's going to be 4 more films in this Fantastic Beasts.
And I think by the third film, the fourth film, etc., even the second film, we will know these characters so well that we will understand who they are. And the second we start the movie, we don't have to get to know them. We'll be like, I like you. And we'll know certain aspects of their personality that we'll resonate with and like about them. So I think that this film has got the hard task in some ways of building up that world with these new roles for us to meet. But I do think it was missing a bit more of a comedic output. I don't think there weren't too many moments of light relief. It was just lacking that little spark that the Harry Potter films had, I think.
In the trailers, it seemed that it did seem quite funny. Like Eddie Redmayne came across, like I've seen clips where he goes into a shop and he's chasing a little creature around the shop and stuff. Was that not as funny as it seemed in the was that all like the best bits in the trailers?
Yeah, I think so. I think, look, don't get me wrong, there are some really nice moments that really make you smile and some that do make you laugh out loud. I just think that, and maybe this is just a sort of, I think this derives again from the Harry Potter franchise, but also like the Marvel films of late, which is that comedy is playing such a big part in these blockbusters that maybe we're demanding more from them than perhaps we used to. But it was just, I feel that there were certain characters I really liked. I thought that Jacob Kowalski, the baker played by Dan Fogler, was a great role.
Yeah.
But again, maybe just needed a few more witty one-liners, perhaps, just to pepper the story. But conversely, and this is almost sort of on the opposite sort of end of the spectrum, but I also felt the film was lacking a really good villain. And again, I'm just going to keep comparing this to Harry Potter. It's going to annoy
But you can't. I
not.
bet everybody's going to do that, surely.
Harry Potter had Voldemort, one of the great kind of literary villains and antagonists of all time. You know. And I feel that this film, the villain in this film, this is not a spoiler to say, is elusive. It's a sort of, no one really knows who the villain is. It's this kind of presence that you're kind of, and that benefits the story in some ways, because sometimes having a villain that you don't really know or understand adds a mystery which is really terrifying. But in this, I needed someone or something to project my own anxiety onto. A Voldemort, a character of that nature that was just lacking. So I felt that it's a really good film just on either end of the spectrum, the playful end and the more like menacing end. It was lacking on both sides.
Okay.
But it was kind of, it was kind of somewhere in between the two without necessarily thriving in either area, which I think was a shame for me. But, I gave it 3 stars, but it is a really enjoyable film with a lot going for it. It was just lacking that something, that little spark.
Are Harry Potter fans going to love it? Like, will they hate the fact you've given it 3 stars, or will they agree with you?
I think there'll be quite a few people that. Well, I hope there'll be quite a few people that agree with me. But I can't see this getting many bad reviews because there's too much to appreciate.
I didn't look at too many because I looked at the stars rather than actually reading them, and they were pretty much. I think all the ones I saw were 3-star reviews.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. It's not gonna. If someone went to leaves the cinema or this movie and goes, "That was terrible," I can't understand that. If someone leaves and thinks it's brilliant, I can see their side of their perspective a little bit more. But the effects are too good, the acting's good, the story's really engaging. I mean, there is too many elements of this, so it's definitely not a turkey or a dud, 100%. But I also will be quite surprised if people are leaving going, wow, that was incredible. It hasn't got enough about it to justify that sort of reaction. But 3-4-star reviews are what I imagine we'll be getting, not just from critics but from fans as well.
And Eddie Redmayne, the last 2 films he did was Theory of Everything and The Danish Girl, both of which were 2 of the best acting performances I think I've ever seen in my life. Is he great in this?
He's really good, but I don't think he's got as much to do. I think that
it's a very different role.
Like, and it was a bit like, did you see My Week with Marilyn?
I did, yeah. I interviewed him for that years ago, 2010 or whatever.
We won't get him now, would we?
No, we wouldn't, no.
Bloody Oscars. Ruin everything. No, but he's really... He plays kind of an entry point so well. He's our eyes.
Okay.
We sort of adopt his perspective. We come into this whole world through his character. A bit like My Week with Marilyn. He's very good at playing a cipher, someone who is our entry point into the world, but he hasn't got an awful lot to do in this. It's not like A Danish Girl, Fear Everything. He was challenged dramatically. He had to really change his physicality and his... It was such a... They required really subtle performances. This is a little
cameos in the background.
Cameos.
She's run off, but there was a cameo.
It's just James Newton Howard.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, that was Paul Heath. He wanted.
He can't
no,
bear
it wasn't.
No,
it
wasn't.
wasn't.
It's not Paul Heath. He's over there.
Yeah. Paul.
But yeah, no, it's... Yes, it's a decent performance, but I guess when you've seen performances like we have seen in A Danish Girl and in Theory of Everything, this doesn't hold up, but that's more just to do with he hasn't got as much to do as a character. There's not as many layers to this role, nowhere near as many as the previous roles. But it's more than accomplished. I mean, it's what we expected from him, really.
And the thing that stood out for me, I think, was just the visuals, the production design and stuff. Was that as good as it looked on the trailer?
Oh yeah, I mean that's a kind of given, isn't it? I mean, like, and also I watched recently. I watched the Philosopher's Stone about sort of 3 weeks ago, and you realise as well how far we've progressed technologically since then.
Does it still stand up? I haven't seen that film for a long time.
Oh, it still stands up, but you see Fantastic Beasts and you go, oh right, we've really come a long way. And it does look great. And I mean, there's so much interaction between Eddie Redmayne and creatures, and you never once think, oh, that looks fake. You know, that's clearly a green screen. It's very well crafted in just in a way that you believe in it, 100%. But I think, even though I have a lot of reservations about this film, I do think it's a franchise. When I found out there's going to be 5 movies, that's really good news. I feel there's a lot of promise in this. This almost feels like a sort of origin story. You know, it's got this task of having to go right. Yeah, this is where we came from. But having said that, because of the Harry Potter world, we know it so well. They can use words like Muggles and Hogwarts, and they don't have to explain it and go, sorry, that's a wizarding school back in the UK. Like everything is. Like this film does start right from the offset. It hasn't got that half an hour period of let's explain the rules of this universe because everyone knows Harry Potter. So we do skip that, but at the same time it does feel like it has got that task of introducing everything to us, and we have to absorb it and understand it. Whereas no, I reckon the second film, the third film, I think we could have a really great franchise on our hands. I just think this has got a few teething problems. Okay. And just finally, supporting cast, Ezra Miller, I'm looking forward to seeing in that, because he's going to be the Flash in the new DC films. Yeah, he's Justice League. He's underused a little, as is Colin Farrell, I think. I think that Katherine Waterston is really good in her role, and I do think Dan Fogler he's got a real kind of something very empathetic about his character. At times he's the kind of comedic role, but he's quite a sad figure. He was my favourite character in this. But yeah, I mean, and obviously you've got all the kind of creatures as well. That some of them are really. And loads of throwbacks to Potter, or like is there lots? There's a few hints and a few mentions. I mean, there's a few little jokes about the word Muggle, because obviously they don't use that in America. Right. They use nomad is their term. And there's a few. I mean, I think they mention Hogwarts, but because we've got to remember, because this is set in 1927. Yeah. All the characters we know and love, they haven't been born yet, so you can't go, oh yeah, that guy over there looks like Hagrid. Who's Hagrid? He's just not a real person yet. Not that he isn't anyway, but but no. So there's not too many, but you can tell again as this progresses, there'll be more hints and more references to people and things we know from the Potter universe. But it's a standalone film. They've done a good job in not saying like this is a Potter film, but at the same time, at the beginning of the movie, just before the credits roll, you get the theme tune, and when that comes in, you just go, and then you get that little goosebumps. It's only in there for about 10 seconds, and then it comes into the new kind of score, which we're obviously going to speak to James Newton Howard about. We can ask him just about that. Yeah, exactly. But that's a little sign that look, we are very much part of this universe, but we're also something very new, and I think they do quite a good job of that. Cool. Well, that's our review. If you want to read Stefan's review, it's on HeyUGuys.com, and you can click here in a minute to see the interview with James. And
We'll see you next time. Let us know what you think of Harry Potter. No. Let us know what you think of the Fantastic Beasts and where to find them in the comments below. And don't forget to like. Don't dislike.
No.
No.
Disliking's for chumps.
Yeah, chumps. See ya.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys!
Hey You Guys, huh?
Hey, you guys.
Is that from the Goonies?
It is indeed, yeah.
Nice.
Hey!